In this lesson, we're going to go over how to divide a mixed number by a whole number. We're going to go over each of these rules here, and we're not just going to say what the rules are. We're going to look at the first example together and use each of these rules as we solve this example. Then you can pause the video and try the second example on your own. Coming up on the math review. So example 1 says 5 2/3 divided by 2. Our first rule or step is to convert any mixed number we see into a fraction. In case you don't remember how to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, we have a link to a video that we made on that topic down in the description below. Make sure you check it out if you're really confused. Back to the lesson. So in order to convert this mixed number to an improper fraction, we're going to have to take this denominator and multiply it by our whole number. So we're going to have 3 times 5. 3 times 5 equals 15. And the next step is to add the numerator to that result. So we've got 15 plus 2, which is 17. And then we'll keep our denominator the same, which is 3. Then we've got divided by 2. But the problem with this is that 2 is a whole number. And that brings us to rule number 2, which is to convert any whole number into a fraction. In order to convert a whole number into a fraction, we just need to put it over 1. So I'll make this 2 over 1. So our mixed number became 17 over 3. I'll bring down my division symbol, and then I'll rewrite 2 over 1. So this is the new problem that we're going to look at. And then we can proceed with each of our steps. Step 3 is to use KCF to create a multiplication problem. So we'll take this division of fractions problem and use KCF to turn it into a multiplication problem. So let's start by creating a KCF chart. And since I need a little bit more space, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. Now we have our KCF chart set up. The K stands for keep, which means I'll keep this first fraction exactly the way it is. My C stands for change. And like rule 3 said, we're using it to change division into multiplication. So I'll write a multiplication symbol right here. And the F stands for flip, which just means I'm going to take this 2 over 1 and flip it so that it becomes 1 over 2. Now I can go to rule 4, which is to just multiply across. What that means is I'm going to multiply my top value here and my top value here, and that's going to give me the top part of my answer. And then I'll take the bottom here and the bottom here, also called denominators. I'll multiply those across, and that will give me my denominator for my answer. So 17 times 1 equals 17 over 3 times 2, which equals 6. Now this is an improper fraction, which you should never leave your answer as. So what I'm going to do is take my improper fraction and write it in division notation so I can convert it into a mixed number. So I'll start with my division symbol. And with my division symbol, I'll start placing my values where they should go. My numerator is what's getting divided, so it should be inside this house. My denominator is going to be my divisor, which means I'm going to put it outside the house. So how many times can 6 go into 17 without going over? Well, that would be twice. And what's 2 times 6? Well, that's 12. So now that I have that, I can subtract this. And 7 minus 2 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. But since that's the front of the number, I don't need to put that there. So remember, mixed numbers have two parts. The whole number, like in this original value here, and the fraction that goes next to it. When we did all this work, the top number here, That's how many whole times 6 can go into 17. So that's our whole number. That means it's going to be written a little bit bigger and be in the front. Next, we've got our fraction. And the numerator for our fraction is actually our remainder. So this 5 is going to go on top here. And our denominator is actually just going to stay the same as it was before, which is 6. So therefore, we can say the quotient of 5 2/3 divided by 2 is 2 and 5 over 6. So the process is a little bit long, but I don't think it's that bad once you get used to the rules up above. Once you have those down packed, you'll be just fine. Why don't you pause the video and try the next problem on your own? Then unpause the video to see if you're correct. Good luck! So in this example, we've got 3 and 4 over 5 divided by 6. Rule 1 says to convert any mixed number we see into a fraction. Well, that's a mixed number, and we need to convert it into a fraction. We can't divide anything that's not a fraction. So, just like we did in the last example, we'll follow the steps that we need in order to make this improper. First, we'll take our denominator and multiply it by our whole number. So we'll multiply 5 times 3. And that's going to give us 15. Next, we're going to add the numerator in our fraction of the mixed number. And 15 plus 4 equals 19. So we'll write that here. And then our denominator is just going to get kept the same. So it's going to be 19 over 5. Now we can go to step 2, which is to convert any whole numbers into fractions. Now remember, whole numbers are a little bit different from mixed numbers in the sense that we don't have to do all this extra stuff. What we do need to do is make sure we remember that we put it over 1. That is what turns this into an improper fraction. So now what I'm going to do is just bring down my division sign and bring down my second fraction, 6 over 1. And then go to step 3, which is to use KCF to create a multiplication problem. So let's make a KCF chart around this problem. So in KCF, remember that K stands for keep, which just means we're going to keep this fraction here exactly the way it is. I've got 19 over 5 here, so I'm just going to have 19 over 5 down here. The C stands for change. And remember, we're turning this division problem into a multiplication problem, just like it says in step 3. So we'll put our multiplication symbol right here. And finally, the F stands for flip. So this fraction here, 6 over 1, is going to get flipped around. So instead of 6 over 1, we're going to write 1 over 6. Now we can go to step 4, which is to multiply across. And again, that just means my numerators will get multiplied, and that'll be the numerator for my answer. Then my denominators will get multiplied, and that'll be the denominator for my answer. So 19 times 1 equals 19 over 5 times 6, which equals 30. And step 5 is to reduce if possible. But the problem is that it's not possible here. 19 is a prime number, which means it can't be reduced. Since that can't be reduced, this can't be reduced with it. And that means our final answer is 19 over 30. If you got that question right, you got to make sure you smash that like button. And don't forget to make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more of our math videos coming out soon. Oh, and again, if you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments below. We're here to help as much as we can. Thanks for watching.